One more. Everyone ready? All right. The title of our last Spark tonight is Real Life Superheroes or Masked Vigilantes. Barrett Rothe works full-time during normal business hours, has friends and relatives. He's an open book and verbose. Other personal information available on request. Again, at the after party when he's out there. So, an interesting thing about Barrett is he's having a daughter next month. Welcome, Barrett.
I didn't realize what that bio would sound like out loud. All right, so what is the difference really between a superhero and a vigilante? A superhero is just somebody that takes justice into their own hands, right? Doesn't seem like there's that much difference. We're all familiar with Batman, Superman, Aquaman, a lot of men, as Nick pointed out in the first speech. But we're starting to move away from that. The traditional superhero is somebody that has had an accident or is born with some kind of power, maybe radioactive sight or flight. But slowly, very slowly, the media is starting to show us the idea of the superhero that's just a common person. In this movie, and I won't say the name because there are kids in the audience, we see a person whose only superpower is he was beaten up so badly he can't feel pain anymore from nerve damage. And in this 90s blockbuster, my personal favorite hero is the Shoveler. No real superpowers to speak of. So did you know that there is a trend, a movement of people that are dressing up like superheroes in their communities? It's true. They go around and they patrol and they fight crime, usually in groups, usually with other people, and they're kind of creating this movement that has come to be known as the real-life superhero movement. And just to go over it somewhat briefly, high level, the most famous of these to me is a guy named Phoenix Jones, and that's his superhero name. His real name is Ben, and he was in Seattle, and he started a group called the Rain City Superhero Movement. And he's most famous, I say, because he has a YouTube video with quite a lot of hits that I encourage you to go look at. He fights a guy and knocks him out in front of police, and the Seattle police allow this to happen because of a Washington law known as mutual combat. You can fight each other as long as it's consensual. And this isn't a small trend. If you look, this is their wiki page. All the people on the right, those are all the known real-life superheroes in the Rain City superhero movement. And there are two types to me. There's the Good Samaritans and the crime fighters. The Good Samaritans are kind of a neighborhood watch at best. They might deliver toys for tots, they might do meals for the homeless or elderly, help people cross the street, that kind of thing. And then there's the crime fighters. These are people that stop fights or get into them. They walk people home at night to their cars. They might help you on the highway, but really they are crime preventers. So, if you know anybody in law enforcement, you might say, why would you come into my job and make it harder? Police have, at best, a negative to neutral response to this phenomenon. But police can't be everywhere all at once, right? So sometimes that little bit, that engaged citizen can make all the difference. There's a lot of threats in the world. I'll let you gather some. Some of these are very important, others are not. But anyway, that little bit of difference in engaged citizenry can really give you the edge. But if you put yourself in a mask and try to fight crime, you are a target. So eventually one of these people is going to get pummeled to death. And that will be very sad. The fun part of that is, if you're a target, you're going to want gadgets. And the things that used to be fiction are fast becoming reality. You can arm yourself with things to defend yourself on these noble missions patrolling downtown Denver or Old Town Fort Collins when the bars let out. Oh, we moved too fast. So the question I want to give you tonight, I have a question and a thesis, is you will see these people soon, I promise you. The question is, are they real-life superheroes or mass vigilantes? I think it's two sides of the same coin. The thesis I want to give you, though, is I really truly believe our villains are becoming more like supervillains. And I don't know, when you speak at Ignite, you have to submit your slides very early, so I didn't realize comparing Donald Trump to Lex Luthor at the time was going to be a comment on current events. But anyway, if our villains are becoming more like supervillains, I don't think it's out of line to think our heroes are going to adapt, and they'll have to become more like superheroes. The lines of fiction and reality are becoming increasingly blurred. So what do you do if you want to become a superhero, real-life superhero, which I don't necessarily recommend? It seems to me all you need is an identity to conceal, an eccentric costume, and the will to make the world better. But being from Fort Collins, we like our local flavor, so I give you the Fort Vengers League, Pooter Woman, Captain Larimer, the Fractivist. Green Ram seemed a little on the nose, but I like Blue Bicyclist. As for me, I know where my future lies if I want to be a superhero. And how many of you thought when you came to Ignite tonight, the last slide you were going to see was some guy comparing himself to Samuel L. Jackson? Thanks for coming out tonight. Drive home safe.